So we're back having a small roundtable talk with Winter Adams, Olympian, and Adam, 5 times show winner, overall winner, second place at the British, and the guy I always bring into film, Uzi, to always assist and support me. And we're just talking on a few things: motivation, seasonal depression, how do you stay motivated, how do you realign yourself when you fall off of motivation, how did you get into the position you are now, where did you start, and what was the transitions on the way. And we're sort of looking into the negatives as well as the positives, because it's about peeling back the layers and being raw and letting people understand you as a person and not just the person they see on Instagram.
Do you care about bodybuilding? Where I'm all in for bodybuilding, or is it like I need a career to fuel bodybuilding, or is it?
Like I think if I wanted to go the full bodybuilding route, you'd find money somewhere. There's always money to be made somewhere. But obviously, you've been helping people for the last 7 years, and like I say, you've got those clients who are more than clients now. So like, message me out the blue or give me a call and stuff like that. You know, you can have those sort of in-depth conversations. Again, something personal might happen, and you might be the first person they call instead of their friends. So again, it goes a bit deeper than that. But in terms of competing, I mean, that's always going to be there. Do you know what I mean? But as a career itself, obviously you need to make money. And let's be honest, there's not much money in bodybuilding unless you're sponsored. And
not directly from bodybuilding. It's more off the back end of coaching or sponsorships, really.
Exactly. So it's kind of like, if you can retain all those clients, like I say, I know for a fact when I move to London, I'll take a massive hit. So I need to make sure before that happens.
You've got to cover that gap before you jump over.
Exactly. I need to make sure I'm either set up as a PT in London, or I have enough online clients to bridge the gap.
So basically, you want to grow more online clients.
Yep.
That's what you want to do, because that gives you more stability and it allows you to do what you want to do.
Exactly.
And just that flexibility location-wise. Remember, PT, you're very homed into one spot.
And who can you help the most with, like, obviously online coaching? Is it men's physique guys? Because
I have transitioned into a lot of men's physique guys now. So the 2024 season is going to be quite stacked, which I'm very happy about. Again, there's going to be a lot of guys stepping up there. A lot of people looking, they probably don't want me to say this, but September and November shows. So those are the first time shows. And I specifically said to them, like, the later ones in the year are going to be more stacked. They're going to be
the
heavy.
more harder shows.
But I was like, if you win in them stacked ones, you know where you stand. And again, if you do, let's say the November show, the first timers, you can probably go straight into the open show straight after that. Yeah. But that being said, the majority of my clients are lifestyle clients. So again, people who just want to lose weight just for themselves. You know, they might want to go on holiday. They might just want to feel a little better. Again, want to be more optimal in the gym. The goals always change. Again, it could be one person, let's say Mark, shouts to Mark, who wants to increase his squat and his bench press. So again, that's been our main goal. Like, he's in the army, he doesn't really care about anything else. He just wants to be stronger. He wants to be everybody else that he's with. Whereas someone else, like Zika, he's lost a tremendous shouts to Zika, tremendous amounts of weight.
How much?
Oh, it look about 35 kilos.
30, 40 kilos.
Yeah.
Between 30 plus kilos.
Yeah. So now that goal has completely changed. He wanted to lose all that weight and now wants to grow. He doesn't be a massive bodybuilder, but he wants to feel good and look good and
that
sort of be
personal satisfaction of just having a bit more muscle and being stronger.
I don't really know about your competition history. I know a bit about Winters, but I don't know about yours. What's like? You've competed in men's physique?
Yeah. So I started a prep in 2020. And I didn't. When did we go into lockdown the first time?
March 2020.
March 2020. Yeah. So I started prep end of 2020. Okay. So my first prep, I didn't compete till June 2021. So it was a long prep. And then we went into the British finals in October. So I was like near a whole year in prep. So I won my first time a show for PCA. First season, won the British title as well, which was lovely. And then we took a little bit of time off. And then we did a very, very, very short prep. The year after, it was like a 5-week prep. Stepped in the stage in Peterborough and London and won both of those. Didn't win the overall, but we won the categories.
You never lost?
So
far.
And then this year, we did Peterborough again.
Yeah.
Won that and got the overall, so got the sword for that. And then we came second in British finals this year. So it was 1 point difference between me and the guy who won. But again, it was a stacked category. So
you've won how many shows?
5.
Okay, you've won 5 shows. Winter, you obviously went to the Olympia. You did one show, went to the Olympia. What was it? You did amateur, pro, then went to Olympia.
Amateur, pro, Olympia.
Talk us
so
through
within the third.
So did my first show last year, 2023. So that was the British Championships, and I went to the overall. So I won my class, went to the overall, placed second to Sophie Brewster, who won her pro card that show. We then went into off season for 8 months, and then started prep again in March 2024 this year. Did a 20 to 24 week prep. Did the True Athlete show where the goal was to get a pro card. We got the pro card, and then went into the pro show immediately after, because True Athlete had both pro show and
like a pro
qualifier. I think the lineup was like 13, 14 girls, and I won the pro show and then qualified for the Olympia.
Got a ticket to the O.
Yeah, I got a ticket. Like, if anyone's seen like my pictures of the show day, I'm literally crying. There's tears coming out of my eyes.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't got one nice picture where I'm stood there like smiling. I'm just like tears all down my face. So
Emotion can be beautiful as well.
yeah, and I'm not really an emotional person. Like, it took me by surprise. That's it's probably one of the only times like I've felt really like just shocked.
I've got a question for you both. So obviously, we went to the Olympia. We was probably 15th or 16th, which is good in my opinion. First Olympia. Obviously, Adam, you did the British. You came second. A question for you both. Obviously, you've come off the back of winning. What is the first emotion you felt in a show that you didn't win?
Oh, I mean, you sort of think.
What's that first reaction?
I mean, it smacks you in the gut a little bit, because you're like, again, you're so used to your number being called. Yeah. And it's like, okay, this is it. And I'd say that doesn't help when people are like, nah, this is yours. Nah, this is yours. Nah. And then you're kind of like, actually, you know what? I got this. So you sort of have a bit of self-doubt, because I think everybody has self-doubt when they go into shows. I think everyone has a slight bit. I think anyone's lying that says, nah, I'm coming here to wipe
I think it's
up.
a bit of imposter syndrome of people thinking, like, am I really deserving of first place? You know
exactly.
what I mean?
Like, I didn't call myself an athlete till probably last year, because I was like, can I call myself an athlete? Like, really? Yeah. Like, I wasn't sponsored. I was winning shows, but I didn't really feel like an athlete. Whereas sort of like, again, like when everyone said, nah, you got this, you're looking solid, this is the best you've ever looked, blah, blah, blah. And then your number isn't called, or you come second, you go, oh, okay. Like, that's just happened. And it takes you by surprise. So it's more so shocked. And then for me, like, again, I think, but for me personally, I got a little bit upset. I was like, okay, like, right, I need to go to the toilet. I need to sort myself out. And then when you go out there, just smile.
But that just shows your investment into the journey. You know, it's always like lifestyle competitive. There's a lot of emotions that go into sort of any diet phase. He's been the general dude just sticking to his diet day. There's a lot of emotions and effort that goes into it, and that always reflects. How was your first reaction, Winter? I think you was pretty overwhelmed with just the occasion.
Yeah,
so
I'll
it's a
be
bit
real.
different.
Like, I wasn't expecting
there's
no placing, nothing. So obviously the way it works is if you place within top 15, then you know you're placing. After that, everyone's 16. So we were like, all right, if we can get within that 15, at least we know where we are. So basically, I know the girl who got 15, so she was right next to me in the lineup. So we kind of know I basically was in 16. So it was around about where we was aiming for.
Yeah.
Because we weren't the last call out, so that was good. But I wasn't expecting to come any sort of like top placing or anything. I was honestly just happy to be there. It was a very, very long prep, to be honest. By the time I got there, I was just exhausted. Like,
it was a long
leading up to True Athlete, I was a lot more fresh and sort of like just ready and excited. Olympia was very, very like, it was just overwhelming. Obviously, I am very, very grateful for having gone there, but it just wasn't planned for or expected or anything. Like, I was planned to be done with prep,
chilling,
literally by August, and then all of a sudden we've got to continue prep for another, 12 weeks?
But sometimes like on people's physique journey, you got to expect that unexpected. Like someone might sign up with Adam, I want to be in shape in 12 weeks. It might take 18 weeks, might take 20 weeks. And you always just got to be prepared for that unexpected and sort of able to adjust to them variables as well.
Yeah. Which side would you lean on? I love winning or I hate losing?
Adams, I hate losing,
so
100%.
I'll agree with that. So again, I think at the time, I didn't agree with people when they were saying, you probably didn't need to lose. Just to know what it feels like. And then you know for a fact, in your next prep, you're going to go hard. You're going to go, in the trenches, and you're going to do what needs to be done. Like, I do anyway. But I think at the time, I was like, shut up, man. Like, just leave me alone for a second. But then I was like, actually, I kind of think I needed that because that's bodybuilding. You're not going to win every show. And I was so used to winning every show that, again, I might got a little bit cocky. And then I was like, right, okay, that can happen. That is possible now. So, and again, it could be down to that 1 point difference.
Yeah,
So it's like,
remember,
boom.
you know, it's apples and pears. You're in a game where it's a case of opinions. Do you know what I mean? So it just depends what they like on the day.
Winter?
I mean, I always expect to lose, so I love
Yeah,
winning.
winning
Like,
is
if I
very
lose, I don't get
negative.
upset because I have such low expectations going into anything. I'm just like, yeah, aim for the bare minimum, and then if I exceed my expectations, it feels even
It's always
better.
a positive.
What about retired bodybuilder Jase?
Interesting, because when I was competing, obviously I did 10 shows. Like, I'm very weird. I would come second. I'd be like, oh, we're done for today then. Like, I take it as it comes, and it sounds weird. I can take it as it comes, like winning or losing. I think there's lessons in both. So, you know, I'm not a sore loser. If I came second in a show, I'd be like, sweet, there's a reason, and just improve on it. So, yeah.
And obviously you're a doctor. No, you're training to be a doctor.
Training to be a
So-
doctor.
How does it work with the amount of studying and work that you've got and compete? I want to kind of understand it.
So I do time boxing. So I actually, up until this year, I was working a full-time job as well. So I was an accountant. I was working from home.
You're an accountant and training to be a doctor.
Yeah. So
And a bodybuilder.
so I work for one of the big four, and basically because of lockdown, it allowed me to work from home. So it is a 9 to 5 technically, but when you're working from home, I probably shouldn't say this, but you can take the piss a bit.
Yeah.
So I would just have longer breaks and stuff, and I would time box so that I'd have my routine exactly the same every day. So I study in Malta. So when I'm there, it's sort of just like my place, and I don't have any distractions. I don't have any socializing. It's literally every day is the
gym,
same.
work.
Study, gym, work, study, gym, work. So as long as I get everything I need to get done for the day, then it works.
Explain time boxing because some people might not know what that is.
I
Oh,
love
so
time boxing.
So time boxing is basically you set up exact sort of hours throughout the day dedicated to
It's just building a meticulous routine
it's like
to set tasks.
so my time boxing is, for example, in the morning I'll be like, all right, so between 8 to 12 this is my check-ins with clients time, and then I'll take an hour break for food, meal one, because obviously as a bodybuilder you have meal one, you don't have breakfast, lunch, dinner, you have meal 1,
so you
2,
got
3, 4,
factor.
5.
So you don't eat till 12 o'clock?
I don't. I like to fast in the morning. Yeah, Adam finds it so weird. He
Nah,
wakes up
not
starving.
me. Yeah, no.
No, I
eat.
wake up with no appetite. I'm very much an evening appetite person, which Jase hates because
Yeah,
I always have
yeah.
my meals back to back, like at 8
Crammed
p.m.
in.
and I wake up bloated the next day, and I'm like, I
But
don't
no,
know what
I think
happened.
it's also a case of some people are sharper before they've eaten, because obviously if you've got a high
Yeah.
carbohydrate meal, you can lead to
It
signs
makes
of
you
lethargy.
crash.
So I always say to people that are coach in any business I'm helping people with, I say, you know, enjoy your productive hour and make yourself as productive as you can away from food, because food's going to make you tired if your carbohydrates are high. Even if it's an energy source, if it's too high, you can start to feel lethargic. So I do sort of agree with that, because I'm starting to hold off my first meal now until I've done sort of 2 hours of work, because I just feel a bit sharper.
Yeah, exactly. As soon as I have my first meal, like I then need to go for a walk
Yeah, to digest.
to
and stuff like
digest it, and then it gives me a while to sort of get my brain back functioning. But yeah, that's kind of how I do things, and then I spread out my studying. So I know with the way my mind works, I can't focus longer than 30 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
So I do 30 minutes and then a 10-minute break. And actually the way I do the 10-minute break is I have a treadmill next to my desk. So I'll walk on the treadmill for 10 minutes and I'll just go on my phone and just reply to clients and stuff like that. And then back to studying, 30 minutes. And I'll do that about 3 or 4 times. And then I'll go to the gym, train. Now, training is probably the best part of my day. It's just like 2 hours where I don't have to think about anything, and it's just like a release for me. So I'll go.
Do you
and train.
aeroplane mode when you train, or do you just not look at your phone?
I don't look at my phone.
Or you just lock in?
I actually I take my work phone with me.
Okay,
So
yeah.
none of my personal contacts have my work number.
Okay.
So I can still use Spotify, I can still listen to music, but no one can access me.
All right,
So I have my
it's
work
good.
phone on me.
I think it's always crucial, isn't it? Well, no matter how hard you work, to sort of give yourself some time to
For
yourself.
sure.
or
So you
you'll
dropped the
think you're
accountancy
crazy.
job and then picked up a content creator.
Yeah, TikTok content. Do you know what? Content creation is very time consuming.
Yeah.
Very, very time consuming. Like,
She missed her slot this week of content. Just saying.
I posted yesterday. Yeah, no, it's so time consuming
it is hard,
making the
and
reels.
especially like I say to anyone who's like, the notion of coaching is coach, get loads of clients. Like, it's content is a full-time job in itself. It's hard, the planning, like just getting to do it. It's very tough. So credit balancing uni, balancing your training, balancing content, balancing building clients, and credit to Adam, like balancing PT and clients, because PT is exhausting because it's in person. You know, that energy, it does consume
You can't
energy.
do anything else for that hour apart from PT.
And then to pick yourself up to do further and beyond it, it's as hard as it is.
Yeah, during prep it ain't the one. That's why I'm glad I have the circle of clients that I do have, because when I start prep, they're like, do you need to sit down? Do you need a chill? Do you want some water? Like, do you want, they know what they need to do, but because you are invested in that time, because time is money for PT, like they have paid for that service, and you can't just let that slip because you're on prep, because that's your personal decision that you're made to do, and they've paid for that. But a lot of my clients are very understanding, and that's why I enjoy it, because you can do both. Like, I know some people who will prep and PT, but then they'll stop PT in like 4 or 5 weeks out. But it's like, still there are people still relying on you. That could be some people trying to get away from work for an hour or things like that.
I speak a lot about being very purpose driven, and like you're both balancing a lot of work, training, and clients as well, and your own bodybuilding. So is there like a purpose that everything links to one thing, or is it two separate things? I have my clients, I have my business. Because you obviously, do you have a purpose to be a doctor? Do you have a purpose to online coach? Is it all linked to one thing?
So like, what's the short-term purpose and what's the long-term purpose in both your situations
In terms of
now?
goals.
Yeah, like you have your motivation, yeah? And motivation is linked to the reason why I'm doing something. Motivation is the thing that gets you moving, but usually your purpose of why you're doing something. For example, you wouldn't become a doctor for a paycheck, because you don't earn anything for the first few years, because you do it for a deeper reason. So I'm trying to work out, like, is there something that's keeping you going? For you to balance all these things, why do you do it?
For me, I think it's my desire to help people. As in, I wanted to be a doctor because I wanted to help, and I wanted to be a coach because I wanted to help. And then when I started bodybuilding, I didn't tell anyone about it, and I had no sort of desire to, I had
You
no
was
desire
basically
to
bodybuilding
inspire.
without a purpose.
Yeah,
you were just
without a
bodybuilding
purpose.
for bodybuilding, and sort of everything else.
Yeah, I just wanted
blossomed
to
off the
get in
end of it.
shape, basically. And then when I started to see how much it affected people and inspired people, I was like, wow, like because I know how hard it is. It's not easy, I know sometimes people, they'll message me and they'll be like, oh, you make it look so easy. It's not. It's not. Really, really not. Like, it's one of the hardest things to be disciplined with food. For me, I come from an Arab background. Like, food is everything.
Where they just put the rice on the
everything.
big bowl.
It's just laid out in front of you. You don't have like one plate, one portion. No, you have these giant things. They're called sainiyas. They're like massive metal plates, like sharing.
It's a banquet.
Yeah, it's literally a banquet.
It's like a free for all. So to come from that, and like, you've basically retrained your mind.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing to do. So no.
So you're obviously helping people is one thing, but the way you help people in your online coaching now and the way you're going to help people as a doctor is very different. So like, is it all linking towards one thing? Is it helping a certain type of person? Are you helping people because you're trying to fix something?
Yeah, I am a fixer.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a fixer. I've always been that way. I think to a detriment to some extent, because even with coaching and things like that, if I find that somebody really is not helping themselves, because it is, unfortunately, the thing with medicine and the thing with coaching is the majority of people don't actually make the progress that you want them to, or that they want to, which is a sad truth. But the few that do make up for it, So you have to kind of approach coaching and medicine in the same mindset of, there's only so much I can do. But the problem with me is that I feel like there's more. I can do more. I can help people more. And like I said, it's to a detriment, because then I feel like a failure if I haven't succeeded.
So, when someone wants to help people and they have a lot of empathy for people, that's what you're saying.
Yes.
And then, so if I was to check in with you as a client, I know you've got quite a lot of clients that you're working with. When this check-in is not just any standard check-in anymore, it's like, what else is going on in your life? Tell me more.
Yeah, I become a lot of my clients' therapists. I'm not gonna lie. Like, you form a proper relationship with them. You learn a lot about them. You learn about their personal relationships. You learn about, I like to go into their medical, like their health conditions, and a lot of that is mental health conditions as well. It's not just physical health. And, you know, I feel very blessed that they feel comfortable, that they can talk to me about it and take my advice and things like that. I don't pretend to be anyone's doctor because I'm not qualified yet and I'm not anybody's doctor. But if I can give advice, even from sort of a medical standpoint, then I will, because I have the knowledge.
As a client, I'm getting a lot of my money because I'm getting a doctor.
Getting that private healthcare for free.
I'm getting one-on-one coaching with a doctor and with a Olympia competitor. That's like so rare to have all of that in one.
Yeah, but that's why, like, we had a discussion this week, and I was like, with our webinars or whatever we want to call them, I was like, we need to share that side because it's another face of you, and you need to be able to present it so people understand. Because in the game that we're in, it's about how can you differentiate yourself compared to everyone else.
Jase, you've got a good skill of recruiting good people in your team.
I've sacked many. Now I know what to look for.
The skill is to fire fast.
No. Fire fast, hire slow. That is genuinely the motto, and everyone's like, what do you mean? And I feel like you need to jump into the deep end and see what works for you. And like I said, I click with these guys very well. And it's hard to find people you click with.
Do you how do you vet a good coach?
It's just, like I said, it's like, I don't think, like with Adam, we even had a chat about it. I just go with personalities. I have to click with personalities. It's not about who's best on paper. Is this person personable? Can I get on with them? Can I have a stern convo, but can I have a chilled conversation as well? And I think, you know, when it's down to coaching, it's a game of, I always say, is be personable, get yourself across, put yourself out there. It's people buying to people. They don't really just buy into a brand, they buy into the person. So I think personality is a huge, huge factor.
Yeah. Adam, when's your next show?
We haven't actually picked one yet.
2024, the end.
Yeah, I was asking about purpose and motivation to winter. Have you worked out yours?
I mean, like I say, if you'd asked me like 11 years ago before I started training, what would I be, a PT or a coach? I'd say no. I'd probably laugh at you, to be fair. I wanted to be in IT. I didn't want to.
You wanted to be in IT?
I hate sport.
What did you want to do in IT?
I wanted to sort of start scripting, sort of software and stuff. Because that's what I used to do in school. I used to like that.
You used to code?
Yeah. So I used to like doing that in school.
Yeah.
I hated PE. I hated everything.
Did you?
I've not done a single sport in my life.
Some funnels being built.
I haven't done a single sport in my life.
Have you not? That's
Never.
interesting, because I grew up heavy on
were you like a rugby?
Yeah, I was like heavy. Every sport, like boxing, kickboxing, like go to tournaments.
I was the complete opposite.
I was like, in my house, it was like you had to do sport.
Nah, I was a hermit. Like, I liked my Xbox.
That's quite interesting.
I liked IT. I had my glasses and my Arabic curly hair. Like, that's why everything on Facebook is deleted. Like, you can't see
Arabic curly hair, but no speaking Arabic.
Honestly, that's what I'm saying. Like, everyone who looked at me, I'll just speak the most Suffolk accent you could hear, and then was like.
So then, what was your purpose to PT? What made you say one day I'm going to start PT and I'm going to start helping people? So
I left school and then I went to college. I did actually end up getting kicked out of college, so that wasn't fun.
Same here.
But I started IT, and then I was getting into it. I was like, this ain't clicking for me right here. And one of my friends was like, you should just join sports science with me just to see if you can switch. I was like, have you seen me? Like, I don't do anything. I was literally like 130 pounds soaking wet. I was just nothing. And I just joined it. And he's like, just want to come to gym with me? And for the first 2 years, and I'll put this on record, for the first 2 years, I hated training. I hated it. He forced me to come every time. And there was one time, there was a fitness first, and he told me, we got there, and he's like, right, you're training by yourself today. And so if you don't train by yourself, you ain't coming back with me. And that was it. Like, that was the most hardest session I've ever done in my life. I thought everyone was staring at me.
The 7.5 felt heavy.
I swear to God, like, I was looking around. I was like, started picking stuff up and putting it back down again. And I walked out. I was bright
you do
red.
get like, and that's for the lifestyle clients, like that. Them feelings that Adam can help you with. You know, a lot of new people that sign up to Adam, they have them feelings. I'm getting watched. I'm getting judged. But no one's actually watching you when you're on that journey. But you feel like eyes are on you. But they're not. So it's nice that, you know, that's why these little episodes are cool, because people can understand, you know what, he was once in my position and now you blossom in the gym. So it's great to sort of see that transition from where you started to where you are now. But we always have to look where you are now and be like, in 5 years, you're going to look back and be like, wow, I was there. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be that same sort of journey where you're going to look back and be like, I was doing that 5 years ago. And we always do it. Like, so no, it's quite interesting. Yeah.
So it was literally just that. And then just started training, and I just started going on my own, and then started getting better. But I was still not knowing what to do. I was just sort of lost of what to do there. But I was working a call centre job for a couple of years.
What
What were you selling in the call center? Sorry, I love just call center selling because that's what I do.
I was a cold caller, so I'd call you at 7 in the morning trying to
What
sell
were
you
you,
something.
what were you calling?
Fuel cards.
Okay.
So I was trying to say
prepaid electric cards.
Yeah, so basically, like, let's say if you go into an
Which
SO.
supplier?
Oh,
That was always all of them. SO, BP,
This is
like,
what I did.
Shell, and then trying to make a sell, how many units you can sell, and it was getting to a point. I think someone told me to go kill myself one morning. I was like,
that's the best. I love that.
Winner. Bring your.
and I was like,
Closer.
Bring it close to you,
yeah, and then I was like, no, this ain't it. I'm not doing this right now. And then I literally just applied for a PT course, and the government funded it. I was like, perfect. And I quit the next day. I didn't have a job for 6 months. I just quit.
So obviously jumped into fitness space. So what would you say the first 3 to 5 years of fitness, what effect did that have on your personality, who you was? Did it bring out another side of you? Did it bring out a nice side? Did it bring out a horrible side? Because I sit on both sides of the fence. Like, I speak to some guys who are very open with me. They go to the gym. They say it turned them arrogant. It turned them cocky. I speak to guys that go to the gym and say it helped me with a lot of confidence. It made me find myself. So there's two sides. Yeah. So what would you say joining the gym? Both of you will ask you each. What would you say that helped you find within yourself?
Definitely confidence, because if you spoke to me before, I was very shy. I'd look down. I wouldn't really make eye contact when talking. I wouldn't really do any of that. But obviously, as you start to get confident in yourself and you start getting stronger, that can blossom into your work life, into your personal life, into everywhere, basically. So it's just a case of when you're confident in yourself, it will just blossom everywhere.
So you saw many positives. Did you ever see any self-doubt? And what I mean by that is because when I started the gym, as much as I was progressing, I was always like, it's not enough.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There was a place and time where I was really like, this isn't enough. I want more. So I actually went from a very positive space to being unsatisfied with going to the gym. Yeah. I wasn't happy with the rate of progress.
I mean, like I say, I probably did compare myself quite a bit to, again, the people around me and how strong people were around me. And I was like, this ain't.
I remember I was with a partner at the time and she said, you should aim to look like this. And she showed me a picture of Rolly Winkler.
Absolutely not.
And I was shattered.
Yeah.
I was so shattered. But no, it can, as much as it's positive, it can also drive people to a negative, obsessed space as well. Yeah, what would you say it done for you, Wint? Because obviously you didn't walk into the same gym route as Adam. You walked into the unaesthetic space, and now you've got into the more physically aesthetic space. So because I know you had some negatives from powerlifting. So what would you say were the negatives in the start of your journey, and if you compare them to the positives in your journey now?
So I think to answer this, I'd have to explain sort of where I started in terms of training. Yeah. So so background, I've always been athletic. I did athletics when I was young. I was a sprinter. Why are you laughing?
Nothing.
Why are you laughing?
Were you thinking about the quads?
There's a van called a Sprinter. So I'm like, it makes sense.
All right. So so I was always athletic. I played netball as well.
Sorry, can I ask, was you pushed into athletics, or was you, like Adam said, he wasn't drawn to sports? Was you drawn to sports naturally?
No, I was a little tomboy.
I was like, I was forced into sports.
No, not at all. As in, I was forced away from it, if anything. I was a little tomboy. Like, I used to arm wrestle with the boys at lunchtime. I used to get them in headlocks. Like, I was a proper little fighter in school. I think I just had a lot of testosterone growing up, to be fair. And like even growing up, I had like a brother who's similar age to me, and we used to like do WWE wrestling moves on each other, that kind of thing. So I think just always I was very active. And then I remember, so obviously once you stop like going mandatory PE lessons in school, there's nothing there in sixth form. Like there's no mandatory, so you're not moving around. So then I started looking into other things. Like I did a bit of boxing, did a bit of MMA here and there. And then I remember I saw this girl and she had like really nice round shoulders. And I was like, I want to look like that. And then she posted her coach was giving free sessions for women. And it was Olympic weightlifting. So I was like, I messaged her. I was like, can I come? And she was like, yeah, come. So I went there and he taught me the basics. So snatch, clean and jerk. And I loved it. And he was like, you're a natural. Like, you're really good. And I think like the first time I ever squatted, it was like 60 kg. First time with the bar on my back.
Yeah, like typically putting that, females would probably go in and squat 10 kilos. Yeah. 5 aside, that's like typically the start rate.
Then that 60 kilo turned to?
Well,
212.
212.5.
That was our record.
In a powerlifting comp as well.
Yeah, that was in a powerlifting comp. That was when
Would you ever return back to it?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No, I wouldn't return to it. So, yeah, basically after Olympic weightlifting, went into powerlifting. Now, powerlifting, the reason I went into it was because I was getting so much joint pain from Olympic weightlifting. I have a joint condition called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. So I basically have really lax joints. So things dislocate easily. They subluxate easily. So I could open the door, like press on a handle the wrong way, and my wrist would like dislocate and just be in. Well, it can't technically dislocate because there's no joint there, but it will be in pain basically. And if I jump up really high and land on my ankles,
Dead.
yeah. So I've got really bad
shoulders as well. Do they dislocate?
Yeah, my shoulders are quite bad. Actually, my hip pops out sometimes, but obviously it doesn't pop out of the actual joint because that would be ridiculous. But it kind of shifts, and I can feel it, and I have to like shift it back in place. So it's not great. But yeah, so heavy impact sports like Olympic weightlifting were obviously not good for me. So we went into powerlifting instead because I wanted to continue training. So that's squat, bench, and deadlift. And I got really strong really quick, loved it. And then I went on to squat 212.5 kilo, which was the world record for my age class and the open British record, regardless of age class.
Is it still standing?
It is.
We got to go back to it.
What's harder, powerlifting or bodybuilding?
Mentally, bodybuilding. Physically, powerlifting. Powerlifting, I was going to some sessions and I'd be in so much pain.
I'm going to pick your brain there. I think you said bodybuilding mentally, but from another standpoint, would you not say the uncomfortable weight limit you have to get to in powerlifting, is that not impactful on the mental as well, of not feeling comfortable within yourself as a female?
In terms of self-image, yes. In terms of self-image, with powerlifting, definitely, I didn't feel as comfortable. But because the goal was strength,
you sort of bypass that feeling to get to the end goal. It's like if you're prepping, you bypass the hunger to get to the end goal.
Exactly.
Okay, makes sense.
But in terms of what do I prefer? I prefer the mental difficulty of bodybuilding because it's more of a goal to work towards. So it's a mental difficulty that you can feel you're getting more resilient. You're building your character whilst you do it. So that's what I love about bodybuilding. It's your every week is a new goal. Every week, okay, I got to drop this much weight. I got to improve my look by X amount. Like it's constant, like positive feedback when you progress, when you make progress. So I prefer.
Is it not the same in powerlifting? Like let's say you're doing a cycle and then you're coming down in weights every single
the reason I would say it's not is because there's only so much you can increase strength by each week. Like I believe the visual look changes quicker than strength increases.
You believe that the visually looking better is more satisfying?
No, not from a satisfying. I think it's the changes you see from changing your look is quicker than shifting weight up on the bar.
Yeah.
So I think you get the satisfaction. Like I'm one of them guys. I'd rather see a small change each week than a big change once.
Don't you think it's easier to lift more weight than build muscle though? Because I see a lot of guys get strong, but they don't build muscle.
Yeah, that's a hard question.
I think it depends on what stage of your journey you're at.
And your genetics.
For a
and
newbie, for a newbie, they might see muscle gains much quicker than they'll see strength gains.
Yeah, because you've got that novel stimulus of not training.
But because you lifted so heavy, you got used to lifting a lot of weight, and now you can rep a lot of weight, which allows you to be better at bodybuilding because you were good at powerlifting.
Yeah, exactly. And it allows me to... The good thing about powerlifting is it really taught me how to shift a lot of weight safely, like with good form, so that when I did transition to bodybuilding, I didn't have to like learn how to do the basics. But what I did have to do is relearn a lot of movement patterns. So for example, when I squatted, when I was in powerlifting, all I felt was my quads, and I relied heavily on a belt. When I moved to bodybuilding, belt was gone, and I then had to think about how do I engage my glutes in a squat. So then I had to take off the squat shoes because they have that platform, the heel. Take those off. Okay, now we're going to squat flat foot. It felt really uncomfortable at first. Now I prefer it because now when I squat, I can feel my glutes, my quads. I can feel everything working the way it should. So,
what type of coaching client do you work best with? Who can you help the most?
So I would say probably the most that I get, and probably the girls I see the most success with, is girls who are very quad dominant, have come in from a history of training their glutes and not seeing any progress because of the quad dominant So those girls who want to bring up their glutes and have struggled to engage their glutes.
And that's down to your programming, how you program there.
Because it's not just the programming, it's not just the exercise selection. What is really important for me is I get video feedback from the clients who send me training
like the
videos.
Clients, biomechanics and stuff like that.
Yeah. I've had a few clients come to see me in person at Graftism, and I've gone through with them because it is easier hands-on. Don't get me wrong, but it is still very possible through videos. But hands-on, I can feel and I can see, and it's a lot easier to say, okay, this is what you need to do. But a lot of it is just foot placement. Choosing the right weight, choosing the right motion. Like with glutes, it's not one of those where you go super heavy and you push a lot of weight. Yeah, it's very, very contractile.
And then Adam, like what kind of training style do you help people with? Is there like someone that you said men's physique? Does it exist where like you can change your body over time and have it more tailored towards a certain category? Does that work?
I mean, yes and no, I think obviously people laugh at men's physique guys and say, oh, they don't train legs and this and that. And I think that's a straight lie, because I think we all do. But in the sense of, again, men's physique, again, you want to have broad shoulders. Again, that's why, for example, let's say you look at the short category. Again, the guy's a lot shorter, but their waists are just so small and their shoulders are so wide and their backs are so wide. For men's physique, that's the sort of thing you're going to be looking for. But again, if you want to be a lifestyle client, you don't need to have a certain criteria, a scale. Okay, what do you feel more comfortable with? What do you want to grow the most? Okay, let's look at that and let's tailor the goal towards that. For example, nothing's ever set in stone. The goal can always change. The goalpost is always moving.
From my experience, I would say the goal of the majority of the lifestyle clients is, I want to look like a men's physique guy, because it's an obtainable.
Some go harder as well. Like some lifestyle guys train hard.
I do think there's a huge correlation between lifestyle clients and, a lot of lifestyle clients don't want to compete, but they still want to have the look. Do you know what I mean? Because the men's physique look, in my opinion, it's probably the best look out of all the categories.
Yeah. Would you agree? I think as a brand, you do attract someone who falls into a more serious lifestyle. Yeah. So you have lifestyle, which is like, I go to the gym. But then you have more serious lifestyle, bordering on to, I might compete one day.
Yeah, because I'm 65% lifestyle, and people are like, oh, you've got so many. So it's mainly lifestyle, and the lifestyle become elite lifestyle. I've got some lifestyle that adhere better than competitive clients, and it's like, you can do the journey without having to compete. And I do think the elite lifestyle clientele, the look they do go for is, I want to be strong, and I want to look like a men's physique athlete.
You've had a lot of guys who would say they didn't want to compete, but then they trained with you.
Yeah, because if you do the lifestyle and someone says to me, oh, then I want to compete, what's going to change? I actually say nothing. You're just going to diet a bit longer. Like, you're eating 5 meals a day, you're doing 40 minutes cardio a day, you're in a deficit, you've done it for you've done it for like 12 weeks, you probably need to do it for another 6. That is the only difference.
Yeah.
I want to understand, like, if I was to work with Team Jase for like a photo shoot, just because I've never done a photo shoot before. But so if I'm thinking about a photo shoot, why would I want to do a photo shoot? What does that do for me? And
self-confidence.
What's it like?
Self-confidence. Obviously, Adam and Winter are hosting a photo shoot soon, so this is good promo. So what are the benefits of doing a photo shoot? Self-confidence, having a goal and ticking a box, saying that I'm going to complete what I've set out to do, understanding your characteristics. When you push yourself through tough times, you learn yourself as a person. And just setting a challenge, because I always think a lot of people coast through their fitness journey and coast through life not knowing what's next, whereas if you do a shoot, you're unlocking new levels of potential. Then there's always more on the back end of that. So I do advise everyone to sort of get into nailing and doing a photo shoot as a stepping stone in your journey, whether that's just you want to do a photo shoot year on year, or you want to do it once to tick the box, or you want to do it and then move into competing. So I do think there's many positives.
I think about on a confidence level, do you know, if you're never going to compete and you just go to the gym, imagine having pictures that you keep forever.
Yeah.
Of you looking your best.
I think that's the thing, though. Like, obviously, going back to why the clients on our team treat it so serious and why they do so well, is because of the service that everyone provides here. Yeah. It's not sugar-coated and it's not a cookie cutter either. It's a sense of, like, everyone, again, going back to sort of transitioning into prep, nothing really changes because they've treated it so seriously, and the service that provided there makes it that easier to transition into that prep phase from a lifestyle.
They just take it serious because you're taking them serious. Like if it was just like a $9.99 app and they had no communication, that's where you probably say, I've done it for a week, but I've got no one to be accountable to, so I'll fall off.
And the fact it's so personal as well, you already know everything about this person anyway. Yeah. You know what's going on at home. You know their stress levels, their sleep, their water intake, their food they're eating, how the way they're training. The only difference is like, okay,
It's the time frame, isn't it?
September, we've got a show now.
I say, if you're a lifestyle client and you're working with me and you want to do a shoot, just be prepared for me to remove my remorse. 'Cause essentially, that's what you have to do. You have to push people in an uncomfortable position. And as a coach, I always say it, you have to be uncomfortable as a coach.
But like, how do you know how much to push someone?
No one's ever died doing cardio. No, you learn clients' tolerances. Like, I know there's certain clients I can push to the wire. Like, I know I'll be transparent. I can't take winter's food through the floor because training will not be the same. Whereas I know with Adam, I can give him abundance of cardio because he's got a lot of energy expenditure. He can just get it done. And stuff like that. So you just sort of learn the individual. And I know there's some clients, due to their work and day-to-day life, that I can't give 60, 70 minutes cardio to. But the young lad that's on the PT floor, I probably can because you manage your day.
Yeah. That's sick.
I've actually got a question for you both because this is quite interesting. So we're in a period of time in the winter months where a big thing I do believe in is seasonal depression. I'm not saying that any of us no, but it's something like I'm actually want to talk on it in seasonal depression, and what that is I believe it's in December, January, and probably even February. And do you ever think you experience seasonal depression, or should I say, what do you do when you see dips of motivation and focus, and how do you realign yourself? Because it is like, I've got a few clients of people saying I'm struggling to get out of bed. I've had it 1 or 2 days this month as well. And sort of, how do you identify that, and how do you refine motivation within yourself when, for example, both of you right now, your goals are not in sight, they're not close. And I feel like when goals are not in close proximity, that's where motivation dips. So if your motivation dips, how do you realign and get yourself back on track?
I mean, for me personally, this is the first year I've actually sort of experienced anything like that. Because I thought, again, when people sound like, I don't really feel that. But this year, I've definitely felt that again. The struggle to get out of bed, the struggle to do fast cardio, the struggle to start the meal prep, things like that. And it's like because the goal may look so far away, it's breaking those goals down day by day and week by week, just so you know you're ticking boxes. Because again, if I say I'm going to compete in November next year, I'll say just, oh man, this is really far. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But if you break it down bit by bit, you're still making progress there. And for me personally, that makes me feel a lot better myself because I've made that progress each day and I feel productive. Don't get me wrong, when there's days where I have done absolutely nothing and I feel so lazy, I just feel extremely unproductive, and that makes me feel even worse. So for me personally, it's just ticking different boxes each day. And again, because the goal may change, it's just keeping things in sight there. Like I say, we went to Malta for a little bit, and that changed things completely for me because I got away. I was like, okay, you know what?
You just have to sometimes break the environment, and sometimes it's about breaking your routine and then getting back to it.
Exactly. Like living in Ipswich, like me traveling down to London, just makes me feel better because I feel like I'm going somewhere different. There's new people, there's new gyms, things like that as well. And again, so like for me wanting to move here, I can now sort of put goals away from bodybuilding and into my business life. Like, okay, right, I'm making progress here, but let's see if I can make progress in the business side as well, you know?
And that's like, I say to people, the business side is harder than the bodybuilding. 100%. I feel like that is because the bodybuilding is, you control everything you do. As the business, you might do everything and that lead might take 2 or 3 weeks. So it is harder, and I think it's mentally harder, and people come into the coaching side and think, my bodybuilding's great. It's going to align with my business, and it's the business is harder because we're relying on other people to buy into us. Whereas the bodybuilding, if you do the work, you get the reward is instant gratification. Yeah. How would you say you deal with the slump?
So, yeah, seasonal depression is nothing new to me. Go through it every year. I expect it every year. It's a mix of psychological and physiological symptoms, and with me, it's very much heavily balance between both. So I will feel lethargic, but I'll also feel unmotivated. And the cold, I'm very intolerant to cold as well. So I just don't do well.
So you're coming in with your scarf and your hoodie.
Yeah, I just don't like the cold. Like,
so you say you've gone through the seasonal depression in December. You've got your finals or final exams. How do you now say I've got to shift out of that because I haven't got time to be in this seasonal depression?
So, well, I'm very solution orientated, so I will look for the reasons it happens and I will look for the solutions. So reasons it happens is just basically sunlight gives you dopamine. We need dopamine. When there's less sunlight, less dopamine. So try and get as much sunlight as possible. Also make sure I'm getting my vitamin D intake, high dose, 5,000 IU a day. And getting a routine of getting up early to get enough sunlight, of course. and then making sure that when I leave the house, I'm already warm, so I'm not, entering freezing cold. For me, it's very much, it has to be robotic. It can't be from a place of motivation. I can't be like, okay, I have to wait until I feel good, because it's not. I know it's not going to happen. So it's just a case of forcing myself.
I love that you both can come on and say how you feel, because most coaches lie and make themselves not look vulnerable because they think that's how you.
We're just like everybody else.
Yeah.
We're just like everybody else. Difference is that obviously we help people, but again, I think that's why we're so personable, because it's being relatable. Like, no one wants to talk to someone who has no idea what they've thought about or they're going through, stuff like that, because they just look at you like, okay then, like, it's being more personable.
Being a real human.
People want to connect with the individual, and I feel like where you are both in your journey, people can reach out and they don't feel like you're too far gone. Do you know what I mean? If that makes sense. Like, you don't see Chris Bumstead with a huge client base because he's unattainable. He's too far gone. So I think the fact that you come on and let yourself build personable, Winter, you've got into the YouTube space. How many times have you had a girl reach out and be like, oh, that's how I think, or you've broke it down and people sort of understand that. And I'm huge. You lot know all the time. I'm like, to get yourself out there, talk, be personal, because I've seen that's what sort of makes everything that you want to make. It's understanding people watching something can resonate and being like, they're not too different than I am. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you want to plug your YouTube? I don't know you had a YouTube channel.
Oh, it's new. I've only got like 4 videos.
And it's got about over 100,000
hella views, man.
Has it?
Yeah.
Give me some of this good luck. I'm trying to do it as well.
What is my YouTube?
Yeah, I want to know. I'm curious.
I think it's just my name. I think it's just Winter Adams, I think.
Yeah, so Winter's got the YouTube, which is good, is seeing another side of her, and we're putting out some educational content there, because even as Winter as an athlete, I'm like, we need to just build you more than an athlete, because I'm very honest, like I always say, like, as people can say it's crazy, competing to me is very short-lived, and we have to think, what are people going to remember you for after the competing? So the YouTube is actually at Winter Adams.
Yes.
And yeah, there's one.
What videos got a lot of views?
30k.
On which one?
12k, 18k, 4k. So yeah, it's moving.
Is
in
this
the
a
right
weekly thing
direction.
now?
It was. I'm actually going to Malta to sit my exams, so I'm not going to be filming for a while. But
we're going to make it work where we can.
Yeah, I mean,
when she's over, we'll make it work.
if I can, I mean, I've got a lot of requests for a day in a life. So if I get a videographer out there, I might get one. To
the most watched videos on YouTube from people in fitness are full day of eatings.
Yeah.
People,
because you sit there and watch and eat while you eat.
Yeah,
it's so highly requested.
So yeah, obviously we've got. I think you're going to put out the Loom on there so people get that sort of short clips, the short form content, and then. Like I said to Winter last week, as soon as you're back, let me know and we'll just get whatever you want done. So that'll probably be like second week of Jan. But again, like I say, the YouTube is hard. Like I speak to so many people that do well in that space, like my mate Ben. They get on it, they stop. They get on it, they stop. But people always watch it and appreciate it when you're back as well. Yeah,
YouTube's my biggest struggle now. That's what I'm trying to really grind at it.
Well, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, shout out to 444 Visuals because
that's Emily.
She does all the work. I'm the character.
That's good. It's amazing. No, it's good speaking to you, Adam, because obviously Winter used to come to my clinics.
Oh,
so I used to own some sports rehab clinics, which I've sold now.
Oh, okay.
Winter, did you just come once or a few times?
Yeah, it was just once.
Yeah. And was it Achilles? We worked on your Achilles.
No. It wasn't Achilles. It was my hip flexor.
Hip flexor.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Super tight quads.
Yeah.
And then it's good speaking to you as well. Good getting to know both of you, and I'm sure we'll collaborate in other ways as well.
Lovely.
Yeah,
thank you for having us.
Good.
So if you've got to this part in the podcast and talk, we appreciate it. We're just doing a small outro now, so obviously you can find everyone's socials in the description, and we'll bring it back to you in a few more weeks or a few more months to discuss a second topic. But thank you for listening, and again, thank you for having Usman in today. Thank you for having Adam, Team Jase coach. So if you're interested, check him out, and thank you for having Winter, Team Jase coach.